Students, in this video, I am going to discuss first sequential criteria for the continuity. Then we will discuss about the discontinuity criteria, and then we will take the algebra of continuous functions. So first is the sequential criteria for continuity, which is also known as Heny's definition of continuity. What is the criteria? A function f defined on an interval capital I is continuous at a point a belongs to I if and only if for every sequence xn in I converges to a, the sequence f of xn converges to f of a. Fine. So here the sequence basically is converges to f of a. So if you want to see what is the meaning, then in short you can see that this can be rewritten as f limit x tending to a, f of x is equals to f of a. This is means function is continuous at point a. This implies we want to show that whenever xn a sequence tending to a, if this, then f of xn tends to f of a. We have to prove this. So whenever xn tends to a, f of xn tends to f of a. This is the criteria. This is the sequential criteria. Fine. So this is written here. Now we will prove this. So first we will assume that function is continuous, that means this part, and we will show that this happens. So to show this, first we will assume that we are having the sequence xn which is tending to a, and then our purpose is to show that f of xn tending to f of a. So we will assume this part, and we will show this part. In the converse part we will assume this part, that means xn is tending to a, f of xn is tending to f of a, and we will prove that f of x is equal to limit x tending to a, f of x equal to f of a, and we will prove this by contradiction. Fine. So let's see. So the necessary part, the function, let f be a continuous function at point a belongs to I, and let xn be a sequence in I. That means we are assuming this part and this part. So xn be a sequence in I such that limit n tending to infinite xn is a. Now we shall prove that limit n tending to infinite f of xn equal to f of a. Since what is we have assumed that function is continuous at a. So by the definition, for a given epsilon there exists a delta greater than 0 such that this condition holds. Magnitude of f of x minus f of a is less than epsilon when magnitude of x minus a is less than delta. Fine. Now what we have assumed? We have assumed that xn tending to a. We have already assumed this part. That means limit n tending to infinite xn is a. What is the meaning of this? According to the definition of limit, for a given delta greater than 0, because this is the sequence. Sequence is that if so, then for a given choice of delta there exists a positive integer m such that this will hold. In place of epsilon we have taken delta. Delta is also a very small quantity. So whenever this sequence tending to a, that means for a given delta greater than 0 there exists a positive integer m such that this condition holds. So when you join previous condition, which is this, so we are having this kind of condition here also. So just take this condition as a bridge. This will join equation number 1 and equation number 2, because here is also that condition. So just combine these two. So what we will get, this part from equation number 1, whenever this part, so this is actually the first part. The difference is that here we have xn, in equation number 1 we are having f of x, here we have f of x. So just replace this x by xn here, so x by xn will be here. Fine. So here we have this. So this is put x equal to xn in equation number 1, so we get this one. So now this and this both are same, so we can combine these two, we can join these two. So this is so, this condition holds for all n greater than or equal to m, and this is nothing but the sequence, this is the criteria. So this is basically the limit form. So in limit we can write down this as limit n tending to infinite f of xn equal to f of a. So this sequence converges to f of a. Now the sufficient part. Now the sufficient part here, let the sequence f of x converges to f of a when the sequence xn converges to a. So we are taking this part, we are considering this part. Now we will prove this. Fine. So suppose f is not, so suppose this sequence converges to f of a whenever this sequence converges to a. Now we shall prove that f is continuous at a. Suppose f is not continuous, suppose not continuous, that means discontinuous. So in that means for some epsilon there exists a delta greater than 0 such that there exists some point x belongs to I in this interval where function is discontinuous. That means if you are taking x minus a is less than delta, then we are getting f of x minus f of a is greater than or equal to epsilon. This is the criteria for discontinuity. We have already taught this in our previous lecture. Fine. So now here, whenever you are fixing your delta, immediately you get some point here. That means the dependency of choice of delta is directly related with x. You just substitute any delta, immediately you get some point here. So suppose you are putting delta equal to 1 by n, then you are immediately getting some point, and that point is denoted by xn, because here delta depends upon n, x also depends on delta, but delta itself depends upon n. So ultimately we can say that x depends upon n. So to show that dependency we are using this xn. Fine. So put x equal to xn here, delta equal to 1 by n here, x equal to xn here, f of a as it is. So this is so. Now you will see that in this equation, when n is tending to infinite, this will tend to 0. That means xn tend to a. However here, when n tending to infinite, this term does not tend to f of a. So xn tends to a, but f of xn does not converge to f of a, which is a contradiction. Why this is contradiction? Because we have assumed that this is this, because we have already assumed this part, f of xn is tending to f of a. However here we are saying we are finding that f of x does not converges to f of a, which is a contradiction. Hence f of xn is tending to f of a whenever xn is tending to a. So our supposition that f is not continuous at a is wrong, hence f is continuous at a. So this is the theorem. Fine. Now the discontinuity criteria. So this can be used as a discontinuity criteria, which we have taken in the second part, sufficient part. So here let I subset of R and let this f of I to R be a function and a belongs to I, then f is discontinuous at point A if and only if there exists a sequence xn in I such that xn tends to a, but the sequence f of xn does not converge to f of a. Fine. So we can say that what is the discontinuity criteria? F of xn is not equal to f of a when this tend to a, but f of x this does not tend to a. So this is the discontinuity criteria. Here is inequality, here is not equal to, here is not tending to this. So this is not a continuous function. So obviously this will satisfy by the limit, and on the converse part, the sufficient part, whenever xn is tending to a, f of xn is not tending to f of a. So this is the discontinuity criteria. Fine. Now the algebra of continuous functions. Suppose we have two functions, they are continuous at point C, then the function f plus g, f minus g, fg are also continuous at point C, and if fg of c is non-zero, then f by g is also continuous at point C. So we have to prove this, and proofs are very simple. So since f and g are continuous at point C, so limit extending to C f of x equal to f of c, and limit extending to C gx equal to gc. This is from equation number, this is from the assumption. Now for I'm taking first part f plus g. So limit extending to c f plus gx, this can be rewritten with the help of algebra of functions. This can be written as f of x plus g of x. Now apply the algebra of limits. So this can be rewritten as limit extending to c f of x plus limit extending to c g of x. But what is given? This is nothing but f of c. This is nothing but g of c. So fc plus g. Again apply the algebra of functions f plus g c. So this we can say that f plus g is continuous. Fine. Similarly f minus g. Here in place of plus g we are having minus g. So here this can be rewritten as with the help of algebra of functions. This apply the limit, so we get this. And now this is nothing but f of c. This second limit is nothing but g of c. So I'll again apply algebra of functions, so f minus gc. So this is fg is continuous. Now third part, fg is continuous at c. So limit extending to c fgx is equals to limit extending to c. This is again with the help of algebra of functions, written in the form of product of two functions f of x into g of x. Apply the limit, algebra of limits. Now I'll limit extending to c f of x into limit extending to c g of x. But this is nothing but f of c, this is nothing but g of c. Again apply the algebra of functions, so fg into c. This fgc. So this is fg is continuous at point c. Fine. Now the division part. So here f by g is continuous at point c provided fg is not equal to f of c is not 0. So limit extending to c f by g x. So this is equal to limit extending to c f of x g by g of x. And now apply the algebra of limits. So limit extending to c f of x divided by limit extending to c g of x. This is nothing but f of c, this is nothing but g of c. So ultimately f by g c. So f by g is continuous at point c. So this is the continuity criteria. Now we will take examples. So first example is, prove that if a function f is continuous at point x equal to a, then magnitude of f is also continuous at x equal to a. यानी अगर फंक्शन कंटिन्यूस है तो उसका मैग्नीट्यूड बनाने के बाद जो फंक्शन आएगा वो भी कंटिन्यूस होगा. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस मैग्नीट्यूड? लेट अस सी व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस. सपोज दिस इज योर फंक्शन. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and suppose the function is, suppose this is the function, this is f, this is f. So now if you want to find out its magnitude of f, so then what will be the magnitude of f? This is x, this is y. Magnitude of means this is 0. So obviously this part is negative. After taking magnitude, this part will be positive part. So this will tend to here. And then here after this point, all the function, all these values are positive values. So they remains same. So this is the function. This is f, this is magnitude of f. So here we are saying that if this function is continuous at some point, for example here, then this is also continuous at here. So we want to establish this relation. I think you understand. So f is continuous at point x equal to a, then magnitude of f is also continuous at x equal to a. Show that the converse is not true. Fine. So first we will take function is continuous at x equal to a. So that means this holds. And our aim is to show that this magnitude of f, this is equal to this. So since f is continuous, so for any given epsilon there exists a delta greater than 0, such that magnitude of f of x minus f of a is less than epsilon whenever magnitude of x minus a is less than delta. Here there is no 0 less than, because we are discussing the continuity. We are not discussing the limit, we are discussing the continuity, and we have to consider point a. That's why there is no 0. Fine. So this is the difference. We have already discussed this earlier. This is equation number 1. Now our target is to prove this. So to prove this we need this type of condition. In place of a we need f of x, in place of b we need f of a. So since we know that this term is always less than equal to magnitude of a minus b. So now replace a by f of x, b by f of a, so we get this. Fine. So now, but this condition, this magnitude is less than epsilon, so obviously this term is also less than epsilon. And since we are using this, so we have to impose this. So this holds whenever x minus a is less than delta. And according to this, f of x, magnitude of f of x or magnitude of f is continuous at point A. So we have proved this. But the converse need not be true. That means if magnitude of f is continuous at A, then the function f may or may not be continuous at point A. And we have taken this example. Here the magnitude of f of x, this is the counter example. F of x is 1 when x is greater than or equal to 0 and minus 1 x is less than 0. That means we are having this type of function. For positive values of x, function is this. For negative values, we have this. Minus, this is the function. Step function. Fine. So now, what is magnitude of f? After taking the magnitude, what you will get? After taking the magnitude, this negative values becomes the positive values at the same high level, mirror image. So we are having this curve. So magnitude of f is basically a constant function. Fine. So now, so magnitude of f of x is basically magnitude of f of x equal to 1 for all x. Fine. That means this part. So now, limit extending to 0, magnitude of f of x is equal to limit extending to 0. But this is 1. This is 1. So 1. So 1 means 1 is everywhere 1. So at 0, this is also 1. So magnitude of f at 0. 0 पे भी इसकी वैल्यू 1 ही है, तो ये इसको ये भी लिख सकते हैं. And hence we can say that this is continuous. This is continuous at 0. However, if you want to find out the limit continuity at 0 here, then in the left hand side, limit is minus 1. For this, we are having minus 1. But for the right hand side limit, here this will be 1. So both are different, so limit does not exist and hence f is not continuous. So this is the example. Now another important example. Suppose we are having two continuous functions at point A. Then show that the maximum of f of g and the minimum of fg are both continuous at A. What is the meaning of maxima or minima? Here let's see. Suppose we have two functions. One is this f, another one is this g. So now find out the maxima and minima. So maxima means we are finding this from here to here. If you move from here to here, this part is maximum. This will give you maximum. After this part, this is the maximum. So this is the maximum of f and g. Similarly, what is the minimum? Minimum is this point. This. From here to here and here to here. This is the minimum. F and g. This is the minimum of f of g. So this is the difference. So fine. So here, what is mathematical way to express this function? Maximum of fg is basically half of f plus g plus half of magnitude of f minus g. Similarly, minimum of fg is nothing but half of f plus g minus half of f minus g. Fine. Now, since in the algebra of continuous functions we have already shown that when f and g both are continuous, their sum is also continuous. So f plus g is continuous. Their difference is also continuous. And since this is continuous, then according to this example, previous example, their magnitude function, this here is also magnitude. So half of f plus g plus half of f minus g are also continuous. So they are continuous, so their sum will be, corresponding sum will be continuous. And hence we can say that maxima and minima both are continuous functions. Fine. So this is all about the continuous function. In the next we will prove that composition of continuous functions. Fine. So we will prove this in the next video. Thank you.